Today I'm going to show you how to do tailored pockets. They're slightly different than the other pockets in that you have to be very accurate, and with the other pockets like patch pockets and the side seam pockets, you sew them onto the fabric or at the side of the fabric, but with these pockets you have to cut the fabric, sew and cut the fabric, so that's why you have to be really accurate. So these are the 3 pockets I'm going to do, but each of them will have their own 10 minutes video. To make your flap pocket, there's certain things you're going to need. So this is just a sample. You're going to need this represents the body of your fabric, and on it, so this could be the jacket front. So on it, I've put 4 pencil dots, and this is to mark the position of the pocket. So this, and you mark the position on the right side. On the wrong side, I've just put a strip of interfacing because this is where I will be cutting into the fabric. If I was making an actual jacket, I would just interface the whole front. So this bit, as I say, represents the body of your fabric. You'll need your pocket flap. So these are curved pocket flaps here. Just put them here. So these are curved pocket flaps, and I've got 2 of them. One of them's got interfacing on and one hasn't. Or you can have a square pocket flap, as I have on my sample. So the square pocket flap is just one piece that's folded over. Today I'm going to demonstrate the curved one. We need a jetting for the bottom of the pocket, and the other thing you need is your pocket lining. So the first thing I'm going to do is the flap, and I'm going to do a curved flap. So this has got 2 pieces. So I'm going to put my right sides together. So I'm seeing the interface side here, and my seam allowance is 1 centimetre. So I am going to sew around the curved with my 1 centimetre seam allowance. So when you're sewing around curves, just take your time and go slowly, and make sure that your curve always touch the 1 centimetre line. Go backwards and forwards here. So this is my curve done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to snip it, trim it, and turn it round to the right side. And when you're trimming it, trim it on the curves and turn it to the right side and press it. And then I am also going to top stitch it. Okay, I have turned my flap to the right side, trimmed, pressed, and top stitched it. And also when you're top stitching your curve, just do it really slowly. And what I'm going to do now is place the right side of my pocket flap to the right side of the fabric, and I'm going to line the dots up. So make sure when you line it up, remember you have a seam allowance on the top here, so make sure your seam allowance is lined up to where the dots is, and your pocket flap is inside your dots. So there's my dot there, so I don't really want it to go outside the dot, so I'm going to put one there and just check the other side because I think one bit's a bit longer there, and one there. Okay, so that's lined up. So it's lined up with the dots, and down here is the seam allowance. So your pocket flap should always face upwards, because when we finish it's going to come downwards. And then you need to get your jetting. So this is the jetting. There's a lot of thread on it. So this is your jetting. And what I've done, I've pressed it in half. So remember, your jetting, you need to interface it and then press it in half. And now the raw edges also go to meet the other raw edge of your pocket flap. Okay, so that raw edge there and that raw edge there, and make sure it's same distance at the side as well. So I'm just pinning it to hold it in position. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to be sewing, I'm going to be sewing from, I'm just going to draw it so you have an idea, 1 centimeter there, and this one I've got to make sure it starts on line, and 1 centimeter there. So that's more or less where my sewing line is, and it's got to finish paralleled. So that's the next bit I'm going to do. Okay, so I've sewn on the flap and the welt, sorry, not the welt, the jetting. And the next bit we're going to do is to put our pockets on. So this, we put on the pocket, the top pocket, the fabric bit, that will face, just cover the pocket flap, and I'm just going to put a few pins to hold it in place. And when you put it on, make sure it's lined up, and just put a few pins in to hold it, because we're going to be working from the back of the fabric, not the top. So your lining covers that, and your lining should be about 1 centimeter smaller in length than this bit. So once you've pinned it, so I've pinned it so everything is covered, then I'm going to go to the machine again. Not that I have to go far, the machine's right there, and I'm going to be working on the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew on these lines again. So right, so just sewing, so backwards and forwards. And if you see the way I'm sewing, it is following the lines that I have already done. So don't deviate from the lines you've already done, and make sure that you stop exactly where you started or where you stopped. This is what it looks like. So sew on the lines that you have already done. Okay, so this is the area that I have just sewn. So this is the back. So I didn't sew this side, I sewed on the other side. But I've kept the pins in there for the next step I'm going to do, because sometimes when you're sewing, this bit gets folded up and you'll catch it. So if you pin it, it doesn't get caught. Now this is the side that I was sewing on. So I sewed those 2 lines that was there before. So I just sewed exactly on top of them. Now as you see, I marked like an envelope shape. So we've got 2 V's on either side and a broken line here. So the lines I've marked is where I'm going to cut. So when you're cutting, you need a sharp pair of scissors. So here's my sharp pair of, it's an embroidery scissors. And when you're cutting, make sure you don't cut anything else but the lines. So I've just gone through and I can feel on the other side of my hands that I'm not really cutting anything. So I'm cutting along the broken line and I will stop here, and then I will move. If I look on this side, I'm going to move all of these out the way because I don't really want to cut them. I just want to cut the fabric. So on the other side, I've moved the jetting and the lining out the way, and I'm going to cut the V to make sure you don't go beyond that point because you'll be in trouble. So cut it to where the point is. So that's one side done, and I'm going to do the other side. So cut it to where the V is. The V, I've made it about a centimetre and a half in from where the lines are. So then I'm going to cut my V and cut my V. Do not go beyond your stitching line. Make sure you come right to the top of your stitching here. And as I say, sharp pair of scissors, like these embroidery scissors, are what you need. So once you've cut your envelope, we're going to just go back to the right side, take out the pins, yeah, and then it's like posting a letter. You're going to hold everything and push it through your letterbox. Just push everything through the letterbox, except for the flap. But once everything is pushed through, we're going to go to the back of the pocket. Right, so this is the back of the pocket, so I'm still pushing everything through, pulling everything through, and just laying it flat. So this is the top of the pocket. I'm laying it flat. I'm just going to lift up the bottom and make sure you see this here, and do the same. Okay, so everything is laid flat. So this is the jetting. I've pulled it through to the right side, laid it flat, and this is the top pocket, laid it flat. So on this side, all you will see here is your pocket flap. I will pull these corners out. We'll sort them out in a minute. Okay. And if I lift the pocket flap up, you'll see the piped bit. Okay, so once everything is flat, what you're going to do next is to just fold over the side, and once you fold over the side, hopefully these should all line up. You will see if I could go in closer. You'll have see those little triangles we cut? They should be poking out, and this is the jetting. They should be poking out here, and we're going to sew. I'll mark it in pencil first. We're going to sew from here and as close to the fold as we can go and go around the pocket. Okay, so we're going to sew very close to this folded edge here and go along the pocket. Okay, let's go to the machine. Right, we're on the machine, but we need to sew as close to the folded triangle piece as we can. So I'm just going to do that, and then sew. Once you've gone past that, you need to sew around your pocket bag. Okay, and remember the lining is just 1 centimetre shorter than the fabric bit of your pocket bag. Okay, and this bit, and this bit. So here is the other. Let's get it into focus. Here is your other triangle. I'm just pulling these bits away so you can see. So here's the other triangle, and we want to go as close to this triangle as possible. Without catching the folded edge. So on the back looks like this. Oh, there's a bit of bundle of threads, but we'll sort that out. So the back looks like this. This is the back, and this is when I pull it away. This is the inside. So this is where I said we need to go close to that triangle edge, and then we went all the way around and came to this edge, and go close as you can to the folded bit of where the triangle is. Okay, all it needs now is just to be pressed. Get the crinkles out of these corners, and you can get it by I'm just using my finger to smooth it away. So to finish this off, all I need to do is to press it, make sure it's laying nice and flat. This probably would look better in a woolen fabric or worsted fabric instead of calico, but as I say, practice in calico first to make sure you get the technique right. Okay, so the front looks like this and the back looks like that. And these we don't usually, or I don't usually overlock these pockets because they're going to be in a lined garment. There are different methods of doing these pockets, but this is a method that I find the most easiest. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.